So onto a quick exercise for you to have a go at. You're going to have a go at playing all of what we call the natural notes over strings 6 through to 1 using either the open strings or frets 1, 2 or 3. Now natural notes are literally just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the notes that you've already had a look at. If you remember, I briefly mentioned sharps and flats, which we're not looking at, so any note that isn't a sharp or a flat we just class as a normal note or a natural note in musical terms. So it's just those 7 notes. So on the guitar, particularly strings 6 and 5, these are actually quite low sounding notes, so we can't actually fit them on the stave. They're too low for the musical stave. So what we do is we use little, what we call ledger lines, little sections of notes, which the, little sections of line which the notes either sit on or underneath. So for example, open string 6, now that sits underneath 3 ledger lines, so it's quite a low note that, and that's called an E. So open string 6 is an E. Open string 5 is an A, and that sits on the 2nd ledger line below the stave. And then we move to string 4. This actually just sits directly underneath the stave, so that's a D. That sits in the space underneath the stave. And then open string 3 is actually on the stave now, that's a G, and that's this on the 2nd off bottom line of the stave. B is open string 2, and that sits on the middle line of the stave. And open string 1 is an E, and that sits in the top space of the stave. So we've got E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, now you can see there's some gaps in between each of those notes. That's because we need to use some fretted notes to fill in the gaps. And literally all we do is we just sort of count through the notes of the alphabet. So we're starting from E, so the next note's going to be F, and that's going to be fret 1 of string 6. And then the next note is going to be G, and that's fret 3 of string 6. And then we finish with the notes on string 6, we move to string 5, and remember when we get to G we don't go to H or I or anything like that, we go straight back to A again, so that's why open string 5's an A. And then we've got 2 fretted notes on string 5, we've got B, which is fret 2, and then we've got C, which is fret 3, and then we move straight to open string 4, and that's a D. And then we've got 2 fretted notes again, so we've got E, which is fret 2, and we've got F, which is fret 3, and then straight to open string 3, which is a G, and then just 1 fretted note on this string, we've got an A, so we go back to A again, and then open string 2 is a B, and then fret 1 on string 2 is a C, fret 3 is a D, and then open string 1 is an E, F is fret 1, and G is fret 3. So all the way through from string 6 to string 1 we've got E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it'd be a good idea if you pause this and try and read that from both the tablature and the notation. You don't have to learn all of the notes or all of the dots as it were on the notation. If you can try and remember which fret is which name, which is which note name, that would be quite useful. There's a lot of notes there though for you to remember. So to start with, if you try and remember what the names of the open strings are, that would be a very good place to begin. Because from there, remember, we just count up through the alphabet. So if you know that open string 6 is an E, then the next note's got to be an F, and the next note's got to be a G. Or open string 5's an A, so the next note's got to be a B, and the next note's got to be a C after that. So as with the lines and the spaces on the stave, you can use like little rhymes to try and remember the order of the notes on the open strings. So for example, E, A, D, G, B, E, those letters, those notes can be the first letter of the words in elephants and donkeys got big ears. So it's a bit of a stupid rhyme, but it's a good way to remember the open strings. Feel free to come up with your own if you think you can do better though.